What's up, Chain Gang? How we doing tonight? What is going on? So, I have this new button I have to push before every time I open a stream up, and it's called a content disclosure. Because I was holding stuff up to the camera the other night, and TikTok didn't like that. Mac, how you doing, buddy? So, for those of you just joining us, this is a very large chainmail jelly cube. And we're building it up to match the length and width. How's your day, Mac? And we're doing it with these, here. These rings here. Right? Every one of these rings, almost every one, in this Coffee Mate original coffee creamer can, is going to be added to this cube. I might end up having some left over. And if I have extra rings, I will make a smaller cube. But this isn't a ring size I can get more of easily. So we'll see what happens. Oh, come on. Right now, it was decent, only had one inspection, spent the rest of the day working around the house. Right on. My day was spent doing this. Took the kiddo to school, came downstairs. Actually, no, that's not true. So I got contacted by the Ring Lord, and they let me know that they are going to refill their 18 gauge standard wire gauge saw cut stainless steel rings in a little over a week, so like 10 days from now. And so I used up the rest of the stainless steel that I had. Right, you can see the sides obviously unfinished. I used up the rest of the stainless steel I had on here, and it's just going to sit until we get more supplies. And then I began working on this cube. So, it wasn't bad. Was not bad. It's, a day weaving rings is not a bad day at all. Tomorrow, I got a haircut. Friday, I'm chaperoning a field trip for my kids' school. Then it's the weekend, and I got a doctor's appointment, and then I start my new position. So I'm sure that there's a couple more office things that have to be done. So I don't know what my first day is going to look like. Everything seems very online for my new job, right? So I'm thinking I'm probably going to be doing stuff sitting right here on my computer for the first day or two. Or 3. And then from what I remember from the interview, I will go with like the physical therapist, the occupational therapist, the speech language pathologist, and shadow them on their days so that I can see what they do. And, Then I will meet with my preceptor, and she'll show me the ropes, and, I'll eventually be let out on my own. So, I'm excited. Got a lot of... I need to buy some scrub tops and some khakis. I have to remember to do that, and soon, because I need them by Thursday next week. So I think I will go this weekend to find khakis. A 2X scrub top is a 2X scrub top for the most part. Don't really need to try them on. Pants, on the other hand, definitely got to try on pants. So that's going to take up, I don't know, some time, some of my time. Other than that, I plan on building up this cube until I get, you know, the same dimensions on all sides. And until it's fun and wiggly like this one. Just much larger. Right? Ring size makes a huge difference. For those of you on the overhead, these are 18 gauge standard wire gauge, 1/8 of an inch. And these are 16 gauge standard wire gauge, 11/64. And you can see, right, like, it would take a whole lot more rings to make a cube this size using the small size rings. So, you know, that common sense makes sense, right? So, hoping to get this done before I start my new job, and hoping to finish up some computer work. Because if I don't get the computer work done before I start my new job, then I don't know when it's going to get done, because I've got a lot of stuff to do on the computer. So, we'll see. I might make an executive decision just to do computer work this weekend. Actually, it's probably a really good idea. Do the computer work this weekend. And I've got to just design some icons for the app to make everything look a little more professional. And then there are some features on the app that I want to add in a nice way. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, in my link tree on my bio, there's a Amazon affiliate shop, and then the MailWorks web app that you can open up, and inside there are a bunch of resources that will help you get started making chainmail. Excuse me. So it's, for the most part, it looks okay. There's like one icon, the Discord icon, that looks wonky, but all the icons are too shiny. So I want to change that. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference in the end, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But will it stop a bullet? No. You need a press where you just place the links and press, slide it into place. I've talked about that with many people, and if you can make a press that guarantees perfect closures or near perfect, I'm all ears. So far, I haven't seen anybody come up with anything that would replace doing this by hand. But it would be nice just to slide a bunch of rings on and weave them and get them all to close all at the same time. So, but you would have to make a press for every weave. That would be a feature. I think what I need are 2 extra hands with, robotic hands with some AI learning that I can teach to make chainmail. I think that's probably likely to come around eventually. We'll see. Come on. But as of right now, it's all going to be done by hand, so no AI robotic arms for me. So, in regards to whether or not it'll stop a bullet, the answer is no. This is aluminum. So, I think a round of any caliber really is just going to go right through it. Obviously, the larger wire gauge you use, this is a very dense weave. So, the larger wire gauge you use, the more stopping power it's going to have, regardless of what material you make it out of or what metal you make it out of. But this is like lining up a bunch of tin cans and seeing how far a round will go through it. It's not going to stop anything. I will eventually, however, make a steel one. That's my goal anyway. Make a cube out of stainless steel and then get the guys from, say, what is their channel called? I was just watching it a minute ago. Something High Speed. They're one of the firearms channels that does a lot of high-speed camera footage of rounds impacting stuff. Like earlier today, I was watching them fire a 50 caliber round at a tungsten cube. So, one day, hope to do something like that. It's like, it's all really just a matter of physics. Is can I put enough mass into a cube to stop a round, right? And I'm sure there's some magic formula that'll tell you, in order to stop X round, you need this much mass behind it, and the material has to have so much stopping power. Like for ceramic plates and ceramic plate manufacturers, and I'm sure they have figured all of that out. I just, I'm not privy to that information. There was always a, well, I'm sure if anybody watches firearms channels, you see them take a vest, level 2, level 3, level 4 vest, and see how much damage gets done to them by different rounds. It's like, do level 4 plates actually do what they say? When I first got deployed, there was a ceramic plate manufacturer where it was very light, vest, and the ceramic plates were discs overlapping each other, kind of how you would see like Lorica Plumata. What pliers do you use? These are Xuron 483 blunt nose, and are these 487 chisel nose? Yeah, 487. Let's see if we can get the number up there. 487 chisel nose. Be careful. They're very pointy. And these are 483 blunt nose. Where's the number? And normally I use, these are the new ones from Xuron. Xuron has a line of pliers and cutters that they just added with these big foam handles, right? And they're a little bit more comfortable than the old Xurons that come with these blue handles. But I use 2 pair of the 483 blunt nose with no problem on anything 18 gauge or smaller. Can I make a chastity belt? I mean, I could. It's definitely possible. Those are new ones, though. Oh, you beat me to it, yeah. Thank you. Those seem to work better than what you're using for scale mail. Yeah. If you... Okay, so... I have these listed in my link tree on in my bio, right? If you want to go take a closer look at some other different types of recommended pliers. These are not out yet officially. They won't start shipping for another month. So once these are out, then I'll add them to my link tree. These are also, like, I know, like, I have smaller hands for a guy, but these are still comfortable for my hands. I know a lot of my female counterparts in the chainmail community have trouble with the foam padding, and so they stick to the blue handled ones. It's got a costume. The pliers, because they have a foam handle, or the chastity belt. Oh, cool. Thanks for the heads up. You're very welcome. Yeah, if you go to Micro Tools, I don't have the link. Trying to think of where I'd find it. Hang on. Hang on. Search. Kurt. Did he add a link? No, I'm not seeing one. Hang on. Here we go. Copy. Let's see here. Paste. All right. Yeah, ZeronPlus.com. That takes you to the pre-order page. There you go. And that'll get you pre-orders for these ones with the nice, comfortable foam handles. I like them a little better. They're a little more comfortable. Took a little getting used to. And what's funny is that my left hand didn't have a problem adjusting to them. My right hand, it was a little bit more difficult. And it turns out that I have... My left hand is a 1/4 inch larger than... the fingers on my left hand are a 1/4 inch larger than the ones on my right hand. So that was a weird discovery. Yeah, but you learn something new about yourself every day. So, yeah, for scale mail, for regular chain mail, any wire gauge, 18 gauge, 18 American wire gauge and under, that is good for Zerons. I like to use different pliers for... That ring just disintegrated. Sometimes that happens. I like to use different pliers for 16 gauge and higher because I've seen too many people using Zerons on 16 gauge, 14 gauge, and they break them. So there definitely is a limit. So I stick to the smaller stuff with these. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. And I haven't, knock on wood, I haven't had a problem yet So I've only ever broken my wubbers. Nobody likes a broken wubber, right? See that spring in there? See how there's not one over here? There's supposed to be. And there's the spring right there. There's not one on this side. It made me very sad. What did you say that they didn't like? I don't know. All the settings are weird, right? You can virtually do anything and, like, they'll get you for it. It's weird. I don't understand. They're so sensitive. I'm sure it's just a feature I have turned on the back end somewhere. And I was in a chat one time and I was asking for something like someone's analysis of a situation, and I got flagged because I had used the word analysis, right? And if you spell that out, I'm sure you can figure out why. By the things in your shoes, do you mean feet? Are you trying to get around a filter? Is that, like, were you asking me for feet pics or something? It's like, show me your feet. See if one is bigger than the other. That might have been it. That's why you were filtered. That's hilarious. So, I was gonna break this down. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. All right, so let's do some math here. Clear. 18,299 should be the ring count in this when it's done. Oh, how did I figure this out the other night? It was 16 divided by 29 times 18299. There we go. I can do math. So we should have 10,100 plus some odd rings in here right now, and 8,100 to go. Right? That's where we're at. We're 16/29ths of the way through this thing. Do you know what that word means? Analysis? Yes. Why? Those in your ears will be different. Oh, my ears are different. I have one ear higher than the other. Thank you, Casey. Appreciate you. Jane, how you doing? All right, so where were we? Talking about feet pics. Oh, wait, no. Not that. Yeah, so 8,000 rings. Got to get it done by next Wednesday night, essentially. How many days is that? Is that a week? That's a solid week. Hang on, do I still have that number up in my calculator? Let's figure this out. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to figure out how many rings a day I do. Okay, so 10,000 minus 18,299 equals, all right, 8203. 8203 divided by 7 days. 1,172 rings per day. Right? That's how many I got to weave between now and next Wednesday night. And that seems like a lot, right? And it is. At 200 rings an hour, that's about 6 hours worth of work a day. So that's not too bad. Are you on track from your last calculation? I'm ahead of my last calculation. It's like, honestly, if I can get... Normally I work about 8 hours a day on average. That's what I've been averaging. Soon that's going to change because I'll be going back to work and I just won't have the free time. But it's for a good cause. It's so that I can do even more of this in the future, right? And cooler stuff. So... all right, Sigmund Freud and analyzing stuff and anal retentiveness. Is that where you're going for, Smack? I don't think that... I think the spelling was just why the chat room I was in kicked me out. But... yeah, like functioning air conditioning. I had a thought in my head, now I've been distracted. So, do they still teach Freud in college? I'm sure they do. Trying to think here. Sigmund Freud came up with all these claims about histrionics and your bits being a big input on your mental condition, right? And a lot of it's a bunch of nonsense. My brother, are you hand-linking chainmail right now? Yes, psychosexuality. That's the term for it. Is that? It's not what he called it, but my parents were both, shall we say, messed up people. And as they aged and matured, they wondered what was wrong with them. And so both of them delved deep into psychology. So I got talked to about psychology a lot growing up. And they did not like each other. They divorced when I was 7 and then went on to go and basically do the same job in different areas. It was really funny. The Forbidden Relic, how you doing? Yeah, I make handmade chainmail all day long, every day. That's all I do. It's a fringe pseudoscience. I think so too. What brand pliers? They look comfy. Okay, so these are the old Zerons, right? Zeron has several models, but these are the Zeron 483s. And this is a Zeron 483 with foam padding, and they're new. And these are the 487s, the chisel nose. I don't know why I just tried to show the tip of this plier with my hand like this, but I did. That's a thing that happened, right? So these are chisel nose pliers, and they're very comfortable. I like them. Lorian, how are you today? I tend to think that most psychology is a fringe pseudoscience. I don't, like, there is some benefit to things like talk therapy and life coaching and stuff like that, but I know people who have been going to the same therapist for 100 years and none of their problems have ever been resolved, right? And it's like, okay, is your psychologist just milking you for weekly sessions at $400 a piece, like, so you can go in and complain about your problems? What's going on here? I don't want to jinx it, but I don't know why you're using the chisel tip in your left hand. Cause this is the, yeah, that's that. It's, believe me, I'm terrified of it. But it's because the way, I can't use it in this hand because of the way the tip of these pliers is. It does not work for me. Straight up and down. Be right back. Gotta upgrade your pliers. Lorian, if you go to ZeronPlus.com, is that the website we figured out? ZeronPlus.com has these on pre-order. They don't ship for another month, but yeah, and I'm not too worried about my pliers slipping. Knock on wood. They have slipped on these aluminum rings, but I grazed my finger. So, a lot of people fanning on the new pliers. I'm liking it. Now if I can get it so that they're in my Amazon affiliate link in my link tree, that would be wonderful. Soon. I'll figure it out. Trying to get to my first $100 in my Amazon affiliate account so that I can make like at least one withdrawal in my lifetime. But I've been an Amazon affiliate for 3 years now, and I'm at $19.73 that Amazon owes me. I'm getting there, little by little. But I think I've got the setup pretty much worked out. And I think everyone should do this. If you are a person who likes to create videos and stream and whatnot, or you have a hobby you're trying to promote or whatever, right? Don't rely on one thing to make money, right? Like I have a website where I design and sell chainmail themed apparel and accessories. Okay? And I've got Amazon affiliate products linked in my link tree. And I have a place for people to donate. So that's 3 areas that I can potentially bring in money. Kevin, how you doing? Right? No, 4. Website, donations, Amazon affiliate. Is it just 3? Is that all I said? Hang on. Website, Amazon affiliate, donations. Oh, and then I have my PayPal and my Venmo there. So 4 areas where people can give me money, right? Some of it's for products in return. Some of it's to allow me to continue to do this. So if you are ever in a position where you're trying to make money online, try to make money online in all the ways. Like, I would literally sell feet pics if I had nice feet, but I don't, so. All right. So, Kevin, how are you tonight? Was it you or Kevin Davis who had... I think it was Kevin Davis who had the ticker problem. I think it was Kevin Davis. But I hope you're doing okay. So, last night, Razmataz was in here and she linked to a cube that she made. She had 3D printed the rings and I think assembled the rings into a cube. She didn't print the cube. I think she printed the rings and then assembled the cube. I'd have to double check with her. But anyway, so I was thinking I want to see that in person. And also I want one. And since I'm going back to work, I'll have play money. So I might try and con her into making me one. Yes, Chainmail. Grim Reaper, how you doing? Is that who shared that in the Discord? Yeah, that was Razmataz. We are making a large chainmail jelly cube. And so that got me thinking. It's like, how do I get my hands on this? And back in the day, I used to go to little chainmail gatherings at different locations, different people's houses, apartments, places they rented, right? We would all just get together. And I need to remember to write down to... Because there are a number of people who make chainmail around me. I don't know any of them personally. I know them as online acquaintances. But that would be fun. You know, take a Saturday and just hook up some cameras and start streaming a little get-together. Haven't done one of those in years. So I need to remember to look up a place to like rent out for a day or... We'll see. We'll see what happens. It's always fun getting together with other chainmail artists because everyone does different things. Everyone likes making different stuff. And... people make unique, cool things. Stuff that I would never think of. There's been a lot of times when I will have been asked for something, right? And I'll think, you know what? Like, that's just not a really good idea to make out of chainmail. And then I'll see someone post the same item later on out of chainmail, and they did a really good job. Whereas I could have never conceived of what they just made, right? So that's why I think it's important to be involved socially in your local chainmail community. And if you can get to a get-together, I would definitely go. Oh, come on. So, there is there's a long way to go on this. All right. Mark, do you actually know Mech or I? If you're real, type spaghetti. Actually, I'm not going to give you that chance. These are never real. There we go. They're always bots. They just come in and randomly tag people. That's all they do. It's like, what is this? So, speaking of the Discord, if you're new to chainmail or like chainmail, in my link tree is the Mailworks web app, and there is a Discord inside the web app. And there's a few people in there, some other excellent chainmail artists, and myself. If you need any help getting started in your chainmail journey, you do not have to start out with large projects like this. This is a ridiculously large project. Most chainmail artists will never make a cube this big. You should, just for yourself. But most won't. Right? It's a ridiculous amount of rings for a single project that but it's like, okay, it's like buying yourself your own Christmas presents, right? You're only going to spend so much on yourself. And a cube this large is probably too much to spend on yourself. If you are most chainmailers I know. So most would never make a cube this large for themselves, and most would never take on a commission this large. So these are few and far between. I know of a few people who have made some very large cubes. I'm not one of them. I have yet to reach a cube that is 20 rows. That is a goal of mine. This one will only reach 15 rows. The largest I've made so far is 16. And then I've also made a 30-pound cube. Using a different method, but the same weave. It's a monstrosity. And most people would never make a 30-pound cube. I'm doing it for hopefully like an art exhibit at some point. But I need to make a bunch more pieces to put on an art exhibit. Why is he saying exhibit like that? I don't know. It's just how it came out. Exhibit. Like ribbit. You would count the Ringception cube as very large. The Ringception cube is very large. And it did use the most amount of rings I've used in a cube so far. 41,000 some odd rings. Let's see here. 168 times 95 is 15,960, right? Then 70 times 368 equals 25,760 plus 15,960, right? So 41,720, and then with the addition of the ball bearings on the outside, there's 6 internal ball bearings and 16 external ball bearings. So with the addition of those rings, we're over 41,200 rings. So, largest cube I've made. But it's a sculptural piece. It's not wiggly like this. It's a solid chunk of metal. It's cool. It's just... So here, in my head, I've already got my first several paychecks spent from this new job. And one of them is to finish up the pipe display I'm using for the cube. I attempted one pipe display and it did not work. I tried to suspend a 30-pound cube and yeah, it didn't work. So going to continue to use the galvanized pipes I ordered from Pipe Decor, but I'm not going to try to suspend the cube. I'm just going to try and have it sit on the pipes, because otherwise it's just a large chunk of metal sitting on a table or a desk or a window ledge or something, right? Whereas with the display, it's like obviously being displayed as an art piece. I think that makes a ton of difference. So, oh, my dog is barking for some reason. Let me rephrase that. The corgi is barking for some reason, not my dog. I refuse to claim ownership of that creature. If y'all are gonna get a pet, I'll never recommend a corgi. Ow, my foot. They're cute from far away and owned by someone else, and when they go home. They're not cute when they're in your house and they're there every day. Which reminds me, as I said, several of my paychecks that I'm going to be getting from this new job are already spent in my head, and some of that is going to new floors. Bet you can guess why. Oh man, I get that tingly feeling in my leg that is really irritating because it was numb. I sat for too long. So, who's watching that makes chainmail? I know Mech does. A couple of people have come in and recognized it. Anyone else? It's always interesting to meet new people who make chainmail. I've been doing this for 28 years. I'd say I'm okay after 28 years. You kind of pick up a few things. I wouldn't call it behind. I specialize differently in my area of expertise when it comes to chainmail. Like, there are people who come up with new weaves. People who write tutorials. People who get really good at utilizing a multitude of weaves in different ways, right? And I'm focusing on the sculptural application of chainmail. It's where the last several, of my last several projects, a few of them have been sculptural in application, right? Am I making chainmail? I'm making chainmail. I'm making a chainmail jelly cube. Is that an autocorrect? One ring at a time. And when it's yay big, it'll just be a big, super chunky hunk of metal. This is bright aluminum. So I've got a stainless and bronze one here. And I've got a titanium one here. This one's super light. No. What you want to do is go online and search up butcher gloves, and you will have a welded mesh chainmail glove that is much more safe than anything I could make you. Like, could I make a glove? Yeah, sure, I could. Right, but they already make gloves using machine-made chainmail that's welded. And it's it's going to be much more protective and more versatile than anything I could make in my house. Could I make a jacket? I could. Well, titanium, was that difficult to work with? This wasn't. This wasn't that bad. It's 20 gauge, 1/8 titanium. It's on par with steel at this size. So I've only worked with, what other titanium stuff have I made? 16 gauge, 1/4 inch titanium. Oh, excuse me. And that stuff's quite a bit tougher, so. Yeah. But I've got a motorcycle vest made from chainmail. I've got 3 shirts made from chainmail. And it's, you know, it would be expensive for me to make it. But it can be done for sure. Like, I have one shirt that I'm going to adjust. It's going to become a jacket. It's going to get lined. It's going to get pockets. It's going to get a fur trim on the collar and the sleeves. And it's going to become a very comfortable piece to wear, as opposed to something I don't fit into right now because I'm fat. I went to go have a substance screening the other day for my new employment, and I weighed myself, and I was about 30 pounds over where I thought I was. And I was like, you know what? I don't feel that heavy, because I've been that weight before, and the first time I was like very bloated and couldn't move, right? So a lot of it was like inflammation and swelling from poor lifestyle choices. But this time around, I was like, well, why am I so heavy? And then I was like, oh yeah, I've been sitting around for the last 2.5 years, sitting in this chair, opening and closing rings, and not, you know, outside of mowing my lawn, I haven't been getting any physical activity. So that's why. So, if and when I return to making chainmail all day, every day, well, I should say when. I have every intention, like, I don't plan on working for more than a couple years. And so, it's like there's some stuff that needs to get done around the house, like new floors. My deck needs to be replaced. It's got to get done. Right? So I will work and pay for those things. And when that's like pretty much all done, and I have all the toys I want for making really cool, high quality chainmail down here in the basement, I will retire and hopefully come back down here for good. So, I wasn't wanting to go back to work. But, kind of have to. At least for a little while. And then hopefully, if I make smart choices, right? When I come back from working, I can avoid having to go back into the workforce and just work for myself, because I'll be set up to do stuff like take commissions and vend on the weekends, and, you know, my clothing line will be much more well known, I'm hoping. So, crossing my fingers. If I make the right decisions, I won't be back in the workforce very long. Couple of years. you plan on going to... No. I live way too far away from Texas Renaissance Festival to make trips down there. But that would be a thing, right? Going and visiting all the different Renaissance festivals. I don't even know about them all, right? Like there's one in Idaho, there's one in Maryland, there's one in Texas, did I say Idaho? There's one in Arizona. There's not one in Idaho is what I meant to say. Last I checked. There certainly wasn't one when I was growing up. I think there's one in Oregon, Colorado, Texas, Maryland. There's a few in Texas. There's like 2 or 3. So it would be fun to go and like visit them all. You didn't think so, but you had to ask? Yeah. It's like, okay, my situation is that I have all the time in the world to do whatever I want. When I go back to work, I will have all the money I need, but none of the time. So it's going to be a trade-off for a bit. It's like, I like TRF. I went several years in a row from 2005, like 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then I was in school from 2009 to 2014. And then in 2015, I moved up here. We've got the Bristol Renaissance Festival up here in Wisconsin. And it's fun. It's a pretty decent Renaissance festival. So I've been to that 2 or 3 times. I haven't been since 2021 now. I think this is the 3rd year I haven't gone. Because for one, you really got to pick your weekend. I made the mistake of one year going on, like it was like 85 degrees, and it was 100% humidity, and it was just miserable. Everybody was miserable. The performers, what was that? A chair moved in my house upstairs and made quite an obnoxious sound. Texas Renaissance Festival is bigger. Dragon Fusion 3D, how you doing? We got a cube going on. Texas Renaissance Festival was huge when I was there. So how much bigger did it get? Did they do the fire show and fireworks at that time? I'm going to go with no. I don't remember that. They did have a bonfire that everybody like stayed up and drank around until the wee hours of the morning out in the camping area, but I'm pretty sure they got rid of that. Those less than stellar experiences make for some of the best stories in your own experience. Yeah. My nephew went and he was all dressed up. He had a cloak and he was younger, very wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, and he was in awe of all the adults that were in costume. So, him and his cloak and whatever else he had on was just sweating the whole time, refusing to take it off. We had to make sure that he stayed hydrated. But that is one of my favorite stories from going when it was 100% humidity. They do a fantastic show every night. Right on. Yeah, I haven't been down in forever, so. I don't know. I don't know what Bristol is up to lately. Like I said, I haven't been. I was planning on trying to go this year, but that didn't work out. I have some friends that run a couple booths there. Excuse me. So I do need to go and visit. But the only chainmail friend I've been able to visit was a buddy of mine who did the... When was this? July? He did... Excuse me. A dealership event at the local Harley shop. And I went and picked up this JPL 5 bracelet from him. And that's the only other chainmail artist I've seen recently. Just started your 316 ID 22 gauge welded stainless Hobberk. Help. Okay, let's see here. 22 gauge welded stainless Hobberk. Okay. Excuse me. First off, Rusty, it's nice to see you. You got a TRL resistance welder. Okay, why... Okay. How far along are you into this process? Like, you got... How many rings did you order? Or did you make them? Okay, because 3/16 of an inch in 22 gauge wire seems really flimsy. Hence the welding, but still it's... You just realized what your screen name is? Nice. Because I have some 20 gauge 3/16 rings from the Ring Lord. And you're about 5,000 rings in. Are they woven or just loose right now? Okay. Is what you have, does it seem like this? Okay. Woven and welded. Okay, so you're very much into this project. I got you. You're saying help because you need someone else to come help you. Not because you have a wrong ring size or something. Okay, I gotcha. As long as it's doing what you want it to do and you are going to continue, that's perfect. Yes, help emotionally. Absolutely. You got this, buddy. I believe in you. $5,000 rings woven and welded. That's awesome. I wish to be like that someday. Yeah, I feel your pain. I've got some welding I've got to do. Okay, I've got a tub of rings here, from the Black and Stainless rings for the big Ringception cube. Those will take me a day to finish re-rounding because they were all out of round. All 25,000 plus that I used on the cube were out of round, right? And I'm just going to finish off the rest. That'll take a day. I've got these yellow rings that I got to add to the Finnegan's Wake flag, right? That'll take a day. Then I've got... 20 of these clasps. Right? 20 of those. And I've got to do the welds where the rings connect down in there. Right? And that's going to take me a day, day and a half maybe. No, it wasn't an ovoid mandrel. It's when they were machine cut, and so when the machine was cutting them, the machine forced them out of round because someone wasn't maintaining the machine or checking quality control. And I ordered a bunch, and I washed a bunch, and then by the time I realized that I was going to have an issue with the out of round rings, I couldn't return them. So I was kind of stuck with them. I probably could have returned them. I'm just, you know. It was a character building exercise, and I built a lot of character building that cube. What welder do you use? Some kind of spark? Yeah, I've got a little sparkle welder from Amazon or eBay or something. Nothing fancy. There was one. It was like $5,000, but it was a really precise little welder that someone posted. I was like, hey, yeah, that's great. I'll accept the price tag. My little sparkle welder was like $250. And I would never recover the cost of a $5,000 welder doing what I do, right? So maybe one day. Buddy of yours makes legit jewelry and uses a high precision laser welder. It was $35,000. Yeah. For really high end precision stuff, I understand the cost of the tools. For what I do, I don't need it yet. Maybe one day if I ever get that skilled at anything. So there are a number of other tools that I want to purchase. To help me increase the quality of my work and to help me broaden into other aspects of metal work. Like I want to continue doing this for the rest of my life. So I want to learn all the things about metalworking. And I've picked up a lot over the last 28 years, but you know, there's only so much really when it comes to chainmail. Chainmail is one of those things that you can make it as detailed as you wanted, but it doesn't it doesn't really take a lot to make nice stuff, you know. Koala Dan, gotta go get blood test soon, so you're staying home from school? Oh, right on. I just had some blood work done the other day, which was really nice, right? I had to get a tuberculosis test. And instead of giving you the PPD tests, which is they put a little bubble under your skin of this special fluid, and if it like gets real bright pink around the little bubble, that's a positive result. And if it stays small, it's a negative result. But you have to get the bubble and then come back 48 to 72 hours later. So with the blood test, I didn't have to do that. So that was great. He also owns 3 Teslas, buries silver ingots across his property, and trades diamonds. And he's crazy. That sounds on par with what I know about crazy people. So, other than having to go get a blood test, Koala Dan, are you otherwise feeling okay? So I wish I had silver ingots I could just bury around my property. Actually, if you tell me where he lives, I've got a metal detector. I can go find him and then rebury them on my property. It's one of those things. When you're dealing with rich people and they do weird things, they call it eccentric. But when you or I do it, that's when it's crazy, right? Like there's a monetary threshold between eccentricity and craziness, right? I would love to be financially to the point where I could afford to be eccentric, because it's a pretty high monetary threshold. But I am just a middle class boy. And one day, I don't know, one day maybe I will have more money than today. But today is not that day. And with the way things are going, it's not looking good. See, if I had crazy money, I would pay someone a lot of money to resto mod a International Scout 2. And you're like, oh, International Scout 2, it's a slow, ugly brick of a vehicle. Yes, you're right. And I've had two. They're my favorite. I don't know why. They're just, they're fun. What else would I do? I'd go take flying lessons. I don't want to be a commercial pilot or anything, but I think it'd be cool to own a little Cessna or something. I'm not even really that into planes or anything. I think it's just a cool skill to have. Right? Like learning or knowing how to drive stuff. Tractors and fire trucks and 18-wheelers and boats and planes and whatnot. It's all very different than driving a car. And everyone can drive a car, for the most part. Some of y'all are terrible at it. But that's neither here nor there. Just having a really cool knowledge base around how to start some of these vehicles and get them going. I think that'd be cool. There should be a bored millionaire taking an 18-wheeler class just for fun. We should all have pilot's licenses. That's right. We should all be flying in flying cars and going from point A to point B really easily. I think that's bound to happen, but it won't be people flying the vehicles. You'll get an air taxi, and that air taxi will have to follow certain flight patterns to get from point A to point B, and you won't fly it. You'll plug in your destination, and it'll automatically take you there. And it'll use artificial intelligence to avoid other flying objects, right? I think that's probably how flying cars are going to end up. Flying cars are already 9 years late. I was promised flying cars like growing up 30 years ago. So, yeah, they're way late. I think we'll get them eventually. And then you can, like the trip to my sister's house is 3.5 hours from here, right? You can cut that down to an hour if you hop in a gyrocopter or whatever they'll call them. And it picks you up, flies up to a certain altitude, speeds off at 400 miles an hour, and, hour later, 45 minutes later, you're at your destination. Oh, what movie? I'm terrible with pop culture and movie references, but I do get some of them sometimes. This is actually probably a movie I've watched. Let's see here. I have seen Back to the Future too. They go to 2015. I gotcha. Marty, we have to go back to the future. Your kids, Marty. I can't. I've seen it. I've seen all 3 movies recently. Right? 5 years ago? That's what I mean by recent. They were like on Netflix or something, and we just binge watched them one day. Thanks for sharing the live. Appreciate you. So, it's like there was all the Back to the Futures, all the Indiana Jones. I don't remember what platform they were on. This was a while ago. And a couple other trilogies that we grew up on. Might have been... When did Disney Plus come around? So I want to say we watched all the original Star Wars. The original 3 remade Star Wars with all the CGI. Is Disney Plus 5 years old? It's like we had Disney Plus for several years, and we never really watched anything on it because Renee and I have seen everything. We've watched all the Star Wars, we've watched all the Marvel movies, we've watched all the original Disney movies growing up. And, my kid never wanted to watch any of them. But then the other day, he was expressing an interest in watching some older Disney movies. I don't remember which one it was. And I was like, yeah, you know what? That should be a part of you, part of your childhood experience is watching the old Disney movies like Snow White and Cinderella and Fox and the Hound and Robin Hood and Sword in the Stone and Aladdin. He's seen Aladdin and the Lion King. Like, we have those on DVD, but many of the others he hadn't watched. And I went to go turn on Disney Plus and just turn them on. And we had canceled our subscription. It's like, oh, okay. Which is a good thing, because I don't ever watch anything on those platforms, in the rare occasion. The last time I sat down to watch a movie, I had to buy it. It was Kingdom of Heaven, the director's cut, which is quite long, and it does make more sense than the original theatrical release. And I watched it originally because it's a Weta Productions movie. They did the costumes, the weapons, and the armor. And it's the same production team from New Zealand that did Lord of the Rings. That's the movie you talked about before? Yes. So that's the last thing I sat down and intentionally watched on any platform, and I had to buy it. So, you know what I always try to catch? I try to catch freaking, what's it called? Oh, it's the one where the big creatures come up out of the ocean and they have like the 2-man robots. It's like a giant robot with 2 people controlling it, and they go and fight the creatures that come up out of the ocean. Begins with a P, not not Primal Fear. Pacific Rim. Thank you. It was in there. It was in there somewhere, right? I always try to catch that, but it's like on Hulu, and it's never at the right time. The last time I tried to watch it, maybe I should just buy that one. It's a good mindless movie to just suspend all belief in reality and just watch it. And my kid was like big into Godzilla vs. Kong movies. And I thought, oh, Godzilla's a 300-foot tall scary creature. Why don't we watch another movie with 300-foot tall scary creatures? Do I have Hulu Live TV? I did last time I checked. But you gotta catch it at the right time. I don't know. I might, because the wife was like, yeah, we don't watch any of these, so she turned off all her subscriptions. I don't know what all to, so. I heard a show that was recommended. That's like Hulu Live TV is like $70 a month. Or just like Disney Plus, Hulu, Netflix, all those. Yeah, so to get all of the channels, which I don't have a problem with. I don't have a problem with paying a fee for or a subscription fee to all these platforms, right? And people are like, "Oh, the cost is getting as bad as cable." I'm like, "Yeah, you're right, but you know what? The reality is that on cable, there was like 10 channels I would ever watch when I had it. I didn't have it for very long. I didn't have it growing up. I had it for a couple years while I lived in the barracks. Before streaming services were a thing. So I had cable for like 4 or 5 years or something. And then Netflix went from mailing DVDs to your house to streaming onto your TV. And so what's that? Cable, $120 a month, $90 a month, something like that. There's like 10 channels on cable that I would watch, and 500 other channels that were in other languages. So just live TV alone is $76. Oh, okay. Yeah, I would. Okay. I don't pay for those things because I don't typically watch TV, and I don't really have any use for them. But my wife watched them, and she likes to watch shows and whatnot. With Hulu, Disney, and ESPN, it's $89. Can you get all 3 in a bundle package? Maybe I'll do that. But it's okay. Netflix, Hulu, Peacock, whatever, all of that is still better than what cable offered, right? Like, what do you get? Cable plus HBO, or cable plus Cinemax, or cable plus Paramount, or whatever. I don't remember all the channels. So, and you'd have to add HBO. You'd have to add Cinemax. You'd have to add whatever other channel. Right? Whereas the streaming services with, 500 less channels in other languages, I don't know. I don't think it was a bad deal. I think that cable was a terrible deal, and that cable companies are awful companies. I had Time Warner Cable, which became Spectrum, and it was, I lived in the barracks, and Time Warner Cable had a monopoly over the barracks on base. You couldn't get any other service provider in there. Cable is scam, so satellite? Yeah, I've never had satellite. And it was the worst customer service I'd ever dealt with. Service was always out, constantly. There was nothing to watch ever. I'd end up watching just like random stuff. Nothing memorable. Or turning it on to a music channel or something. So, when I tried to get rid of my Time Warner Cable, they kept billing me, even though I had turned in the box. And I wasn't paying them. I didn't have the box, and they threatened to take me to collections and whatnot. It's like, no, I'm not dealing with you. I've dealt with this. I had to go down to the Time Warner Cable building 2 or 3 times. One initially to turn in the cable box, and then 1 or 2 times after that to argue with them about me having turned in the cable box and the bill that they had sent me, right? Finally, I irritated them enough that they dropped it, but that's something I'll never forgive them for, so I'll never use Spectrum. There was a table at the Pick and Save, which is a grocery store nearby, and there were Spectrum reps, and it took every fiber of my being not to go and throw stuff at them and curse them out and tell them what bad people they were for promoting Spectrum. I was very triggered when I saw them. They started walking towards me, and I just glared at them. I just gave them a big old stink eye. So anyway, I'll never use Spectrum. Oh, but yeah, I would subscribe to multiple platforms because I think it's just better. DirecTV is just as bad. Yeah. I think my brother-in-law still has cable. He might have cable and subscribe to a few different subscription services. I don't know. But he's got, what's it called? X something. It's a cable provider in our area. What's it called? I don't remember. He says he doesn't have too many complaints. Oh, and every year I had Time Warner Cable, the bill would go up $20 every year. T-Mobile just tried to do that to me. Tried to bump up my bill $10 or something. And they're like, oh, but you get $5 off if you get it on auto pay, and you get $5 off if you go paperless. And I'm like, do it. I don't need to see my phone bill. I don't care. It's like I pay for unlimited data. That's all I want. You just use subscriptions as well. You don't need live TV. There's so much to watch these days. I don't... what is on live TV that's worth watching? My kid doesn't come home after school and watch after-school cartoons. He comes home, he throws his dog outside, plays with him for a little bit, comes inside, does his homework, eats dinner, and then goes and plays video games with his friends. So... That's another reason to have... Was it Disney? I know Disney had a bunch of older cartoons that they put like a warning on. But was it... did Disney have the old Warner Brothers Looney Tunes cartoons? Like with, you know, Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd and Daffy Duck and... Were those ever available on any streaming service? I know... I think Animaniacs was on Netflix. I don't know. I'd have to go look. But... my kid doesn't want to watch Looney Tunes. He wants to watch Dragon Ball Z. Or, Avatar. The Last Airbender. I liked that series. What was the other one? Then there was a one that was... I think the executive producer was Guillermo del Toro. And he's done a few things I like. But he did a cartoon called Trolls on Netflix, which is all about... It's a hero's journey story of a boy becoming a man with trolls. And it's cool. I like that one a lot. I don't know. I'm down here watching YouTube and opening and closing rings. I'm not consuming a lot of television or anything, so I don't really know what's out. I did catch The Witcher with Henry Cavill. I am, okay, like everyone, I'm waiting on the 5th season of Stranger Things. Excited for that. Next year, so they say. I am looking forward to the... What is it, Amazon? It's on Amazon Prime. The Robert Jordan Wheel of Time series. Right? I was very resistant to watching that after the first season. But then I was like homesick one day and couldn't find anything else to watch. So I rewatched the first season and the second season. And then I was like, okay, I'm in. Let me watch this. So waiting on the 3rd season of that. I have yet to watch anything beyond the first episode of the Rings of Power. I'm told it's good by a lot of people I don't trust to recommend anything to me. These are people who, if they recommended books or TV series or magazines or food, well, maybe not food, but everything else, yeah, no. It's like, I know who you are, and no, I'm not going to take your advice on that. So, like, there was all this people being very upset with Rings of Power, and then all of a sudden, all these same people started singing a different tune. I'm like, hang on. What happened here? So, I don't know what's going on with that. I haven't bothered to find out. And then, I guess, someone might know this. The new Witcher, is it season 3 of The Witcher, right? I heard someone say that was pretty good. Even though Henry Cavill wasn't in it. I don't know. I'd have to look into it. But that's about as aware of TV shows as I get. So, What was the... I was just thinking about... I never watched Game of Thrones. I think I watched the first couple episodes, and then I was like, yeah, no. It's like, I read the first book when it first came out, and then like 10 years later, people started recommending it to me, and I had just been pretty disgusted by the first book. The way the book opens and then everything else that follows, I was like, yeah, no. That's pretty gross. And then I read 2 or 3 more. And the series wasn't getting any better to me. So like, I didn't even, send those books to Goodwill. I just threw them away. That's how trash I thought they were. And then they got their own TV show. And I tried watching a few episodes of that. And just like the way it's edited is really weird to me. So I didn't care for it, personally. So I didn't watch that, and I definitely haven't watched whatever House of Dragons spin-off they've made from it, so... I don't know what else is out there to watch. I heard, okay. From, I don't know what platform it's on. Let's look this up. Hang on. From TV show. Okay, 2022 horror, the 3 seasons. What is it on? Epix? What is Epix? Something. Okay. So, anyway, I'm not a big horror fan. I don't remember where the show even came up. But, is Rings of Power good? I don't know. I never watched it. Never watched it. I tried to get through the first episode. Right? And I turned it off like halfway through because I thought it was so bad. And a bunch of people were agreeing with me, and I was like, yeah, okay, makes sense. I'm glad I made that decision. And then all those same people who were like, I thought we were all in agreement, turned around and were like, if you say bad things about Rings of Power, you're a bad person. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. What is going on here? So... I don't know. I don't know if Rings of Power is good. I've got no inclination to find out. To each their own. Like, don't listen to me when it comes to TV. Watch whatever you want, but yeah, I saw a few scenes from a show called From. From. And I'm not a horror fan by any stretch of the imagination. Ghostbusters 2 scared me when I was 7 years old. And I've been a chicken shit when it comes to movies ever since. And, yeah. Not big into scary movies. So, but something about whatever the heck it was that I watched, I was like, oh, that looks really good, right? So I will check that out, especially since it's October, and I'll just sit down and spend some time watching scary movies I don't enjoy with the wife because she likes them. There's some of your standard iconic horror cinema, like Scream, Nightmare on Elm Street. What's the other one? Oh, excuse me. What is the other one called? Nightmare on Elm Street with Freddy Krueger. What's the one with Jason? I don't remember. This is how little I know, right? I've never watched those. I've seen the new It. I've never seen the first one. What else? Yeah, Halloween. I've seen I Know What You Did Last Summer. Because I saw that. I think I saw that in theaters with a group of friends. It's not much of a... It's really a gore film. It's not really scary. I don't know. What is it? The show where it's a movie, and it's the reason nobody drives behind log trucks anymore. Because, like, in the movie, the logs fall off and take out the people in the car behind it. First It with Tim Curry is fantastic. It's not really scary. Final Destination. I've never seen a Final Destination movie. I don't know if that's scary or just a thriller or what. But so, my overall point is that I don't watch scary movies. I never have. Because Ghostbusters 2 turned me into a little chicken when I was 7. So I could have a whole new experience in watching horror movies that everyone else experienced 30 years ago. I get to view it with fresh eyes. You live through Final Destination almost every day driving through Houston? Yeah, I'll bet you do. I've driven in Houston. That's a nightmare. San Antonio? Fine. Dallas? Fine. Houston? No thanks. See, San Antonio has 2 loops, 410 and 1604. And they're loops that just go all the way around the city. 410 is the inner loop and 1604 is the outer loop. And there's several like crossroads that go through downtown San Antonio or through different parts of San Antonio. So it's fairly easy to navigate. And it's also usually when I was driving, I almost never got caught up in traffic. Not that there's not traffic. I would get off at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and traffic didn't really start until like 4 or 5 o'clock. Or I wouldn't get off until 7:30 at night. The traffic was already done with. Just the month of September, you dodge a ladder and a wheelbarrow coming after. Ooh, jeez. Well, keep that up. That's no good. So, San Antonio, fairly easily navigable. You get lost, you just keep going straight, and you'll hit one of the loops, and you can figure out where you're at and turn around, right? Dallas, fairly easy to navigate. I never ran into too much traffic there. I know it can get bad. But Houston has at least one loop, right? That goes around the entire city? Or does it have 2? I've only ever driven on one. And then every which way I went, I was very lost. It was not, well, and I'm not from there either, but it didn't feel as, there's 2 now, 610 and 99, okay. It was late at night on a weekday, and there was a ton of traffic. So, you know what other Texas city has terrible traffic and terrible navigation is Austin. I-35 goes up right up the middle of Austin, and then everything off of Austin is awful, right? And even 35 has 2 levels as you go through town, so that gets wonky too. And I've driven through it 100 times, and I always pick the wrong one. So, here, I don't really drive much around here. Kenosha is 100,000 people, maybe 120,000 now. It's not a very big place, so there's never a ton of traffic or anything. We are on the eastern side of 94. 94 is a big highway that goes around Chicago and up to Milwaukee. So we're on the lake side of that. So most of the traffic goes between Chicago and Milwaukee. A little bit gets off here and there. So it's like you might hit some workday traffic that makes you behind a couple of minutes, but provided you give yourself a 10-minute window, you'll never really be late going anywhere. I had one guy tell me, I was waiting for him. I was finishing up my shift, and he's like, "Oh, I'm trying to get into work, but it's just so much traffic." I'm like, "Dude, no, there's not. You're just late." It's like, no, there's traffic, I swear. It's like, yeah, what is it, 3 cars? Because we don't have any big industries that get off of work and clog up the roadways. There's a couple Amazon warehouses out by the highway, but that's 10 minutes away from from any city area. So, but we are getting a casino. That'll be interesting. I'm not particularly fond of that idea. Unless traffic changes your ETA by an hour, you don't get to complain. Yeah, exactly. And this guy was like half an hour late. He had just left late. So, in normal traffic conditions, it takes me 12 to 15 minutes to get from my place on the north side of town to the business district. Excuse me, on the south side of town, right? So it's not far. On a busy day, it might take me 20 minutes. And that's just, because there's too many cars. You can't all get through the light at the same time. And you got to sit through 2 light changes instead of 1. And so, I don't complain about the traffic here. Unless there's like construction blocking a roadway, which there is a lot of that. It's not really all that bad. Well, it's not bad at all comparatively to anywhere else. Takes you 20 minutes to get to the highway from your house. It takes me 15. Maybe 12 if I'm doing 70 in a 45. Which happens. Maybe 10 if I'm on my Harley. Just kidding. My Road King is not that fast. Top speed of a Road King is 100 miles an hour. Stock. That's one. That's one thing too, right? Like I've talked about this before. Don't know if you guys have all been here for it, but I've got the saddlebag lids of my motorcycle covered in chainmail. I'm gonna do the toolkit, wrap that in chainmail, and then I'm gonna do a leather and chainmail gas tank bib. Okay, and then the front and rear fenders, the side panels, and the gas tank are all gonna get hydro dipped in a chainmail pattern that I'll make on the computer. And then once I have that done, which if I have a job, I can probably do next year. So after that, I'll be working a job and I'll have play money, and I can do stuff to the engine of my bike to make it go faster. So I'm excited about that. So it's like, it sucks that I am going back to work and a lot of stuff is just going to, go to a crawl. Just because, I got to work, right? But the trade-off is, by working, I can pay off some debt, fix up my house, and buy some stuff for making chainmail and for blacksmithing that I don't have right now. So, it's going to be a big improvement. Get through that, and then I don't know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. You'll never ride a bike again, but you sure like them? I can respect that. It's like, I went down on my Sportster down in San Antonio, pulling into UTSA. The ground was a little slick that morning, and someone cut me off. And for some reason, I missed the front brake, and I just hit the rear brake, and my rear tire went out from underneath me. That was not a fun day. And then immediately after that, I went to a math class and aced an algebra test. So, I like my Road King. I wish it was a little faster. And by a little, I mean a lot. Like absurdly a lot. You saw someone rolled into a literal ball on the side of the road. 100%. If you get caught up in an accident on a motorcycle, the amount of trauma that your body can end up receiving is a lot. They were not a person anymore. Yeah. They were just a smear. A stain of a person. Yeah, I've seen that. But I live in Wisconsin. This is Harley area, right? So, while lane filtering, not lane splitting, but lane filtering is illegal here. Lane splitting is illegal too. And people who live here and have lived there all their lives and have been around motorcycles all their lives don't like it when people lane filter. For those who don't know, lane filtering is when you pull up to a light and the motorcycle behind you goes around you in between the cars and goes up to the front. And the reason they do this is because they're a lot safer up at the front of the line of cars than they are behind you, where more often than not they get smashed into by a car not paying attention to what they're doing, right? So they, when there's a light, knock on wood, hope that never happens to me. They just kind of ease their bikes through the cars and go up, and a lot of people don't like it, and it is illegal here in Wisconsin, right? But it is safer. Whereas lane splitting, which is where you're riding along at 90 miles an hour, driving in between cars and whatnot, that's not legal, nor is it safe. So, even in motorcycle country, people don't like it and they don't understand it. They think that it's a race and you're just trying to get ahead of them, and they don't think about your safety at all. So where are we at here? 9:58. This is a good place to stop on this edge right here. Finished up that row. Got a lot done. Oh, so we're about to finish the 9th row. A couple more on each side here. Right? I'll give you a close-up. We're working right here. So we've got that much to go on this side and that much to go on this side, right? Got a good amount done in 2 hours. For anyone who's following along and is like, oh, holy cow, chainmail that he's making in his house at home, and it's a giant cube, and that seems to be a really cool thing to make. I want one. If you want to get started on your chainmail journey, you can go check out the Mailworks app. It's in my link tree in my bio. Should be on all my social media profiles. Inside the link tree is a shop where I have some tool recommendations, and then the Mailworks app. And inside the Mailworks app are where to find suppliers, where to find tutorials, where to find other chainmail artists, tool recommendations, and a bunch of other tools that'll help you in your career as a chainmail artist, right? So it's a good thing to have if you like chainmail. There is also a Discord in there that you can join. There are several other chainmail artists in there besides myself who are very good, very knowledgeable, and if you have comments or need help in any way, that they're very nice people and are more than willing to help, right? Also inside my link tree is my socials, which if you would follow along on any of those, I would greatly appreciate it. A coffee, if you want to throw me $5 to help me continue these projects. It helps me fund these projects and get rings and supplies and other fun stuff like that. And I don't know what else. But my website. I design chainmail themed apparel and accessories. And it's hooded blankets, jerseys, coffee cups, all kind of fun stuff. Until you get good enough to make your own articles, you can wear faux chainmail. Yeah. Yeah, if you don't want to make your own chainmail shirt and you don't want to carry one around, you can just, get a jersey from me or a giant snug hoodie with a chainmail print on it. A lot of fun stuff on the website. So check that out. Get yourself something nice. And if you use discount code LIVESTREAM, all one word, all lowercase, that's LIVESTREAM, you get 20% off of my website. And that's only for people who hang out to the end of my streams. So thank you very much for being here. It is 10 o'clock. I do have to make sure that my kiddo gets to bed. So I'm going to get out of here. We might do some longer streams on the weekend. We'll see what happens. Tomorrow night should be same thing, 8 to 10, 8:30 to 10, something like that. And then Friday, I will be outside all day Friday, running around, chaperoning a bunch of children for a field trip. And Sunday, I will be outside all day at a trap shoot. So I don't know if I'm going to be streaming those days. We'll see what happens. But my website is myusername.com. Use discount code LIVESTREAM, all one word, lowercase, to get 20% off anything you'd like from my store. So thanks for being here. You guys make it worthwhile. I do appreciate all of you. And you all have a wonderful evening. I'm going to get out of here. You guys have a good night. Bye.